Hey, it's Free Falcon. Today we're going to be going over how to build a thriving shop, Titan's Empire. Tip number one, and probably the most crucial, is that this game is a market-based game, so you need to constantly be selling. That's the only way you're really going to progress your character. And when I say selling, I mean actually with the shopkeeper. So the way that the game has you level up is you only get experience when you sell via the shopkeeper. So anything you do in the market or anywhere else, which actually I think most of the events give you XP. So as long as you're doing something that's sanctioned, but the market itself, when you sell items inside the market, there is actually no XP given. So the market is crucial for developing out your game, but you need to be selling with the shopkeeper. And a little tip here is I like to barricade my shopkeeper in so he's not wandering off, because if he's not actually standing at the table, they won't be able to buy. I've had previous cases before I started doing that he'd be like over here in the corner and waiting for him to get over there, and you can't finish a sale, and it's just very frustrating. So I personally like to have him barricaded into a little hidey hole here that he can't get out of, and just keep him there at all times. Tip number two is to always be developing out your shop. So you start with one thing that you can be building at once, and then there is a way to get a second one, which I would highly suggest that you do. And always be having something being built. The problem that you hit as you progress up is that eventually, once they get to a certain level, you're going to need dragon marks to keep going. And these are the bane of your existence for the most part. It is just so hard to get the dragon marks. They only come through the one event. Otherwise, you can pay for them, but they are rather pricey. And so there's a few things that I would suggest doing. Is one, you can pay for them, or number two is I do a shop rotation. I do have a video posted on how to go about that, and all I basically do is I rotate through different items. So once I get a bunch of stuff up to 15, like right now, I am running a high energy, trying to just offload a bunch of items. Once I kind of get that back down, I'll rotate back into a building. So I'll put all these back in storage, and I'll pull out other ones. But in the meantime, while this is active, I will throw some of these out, and I'll just get these up to 15. That way, when I rotate back in to next time, my top number will be a little higher. And then also, as you can see, I am upgrading this. So next time when I throw it in, when I get back to building, it'll be high too. And then I'll come back and I'll probably throw in like this level 5 jeweler, and I'll keep grinding that up, or probably this level 12 Ether bin. That way I'll just hit that to 15, and then next time I'll come in and bump in and finish out the rest of these. That way I can always rotate back to other items, or if I want to specialize, say that I want to do a lot more herb building, I can grab a whole bunch of 15s and above for the herbs and the oil and the ether, which are your most common items, and then you'll be set to go. Or if I want to switch into wood, I'll have my selection of wood stuff that I can do and keep that going. So that is an alternate way to keep going, but the big thing is just don't waste time. Just like in real life with real estate, the time literally equals money. And tip number 3 is to develop out a strategy. There are different strategies. I have a shop rotation where I go through and I try to manipulate the market as much as possible. So whenever the market is low, I come through and I buy. You can see I have a whole stockpile of T11s that I bought that were at or below market value. So let's pop in here and we can see, right? So I can go through and I can buy these up. And then you see that's why I'm so high on energy. But eventually this market's going to rotate during this next event, and these prices aren't going to be here. So this isn't going to be something I can do all the time. So then I rotate in, once the market flips on me, I rotate back to buying, or I mean crafting and selling what I can. But because the market won't be as good for buying. And then I can go through a cycle of selling, and then it just goes back and forth. And specific events have different triggers that affect the market. So this one, you'll tend to get a lot of T11s because we are in the lost city of gold. But when the Tower of Titans, for example, I was able to fill up, wrong thing. Because we're in the lost city of gold, I tend to do pretty well with getting like the T11s and T10s and some T12s. But during the Tower of Titans, I was able to fill up my entire shop on T13s. And then once I got low enough on that, I started replacing my shelves with bins so I could craft more. And that supplemented in the actual straight purchasing. And then I just rotate back and forth. So that's one version of one. But if you look here, you can see we have our 3 talent trees, and it kind of represents also what your strategy can be. So for me, I went heavy in the energy here. So you can see I have passive energy build, I have extra energy. My maximum energy is an additional 10%. And then this is what I really went after, is I have a 10% chance to surcharge any item. And so I make sure I have a big stock of my T14s, blues, and enchanted items, and just hoping that those will surcharge on their own and get going through. Alright, and then we have questing. So this is the other line that I went down. And you can see that there's a lot of options. So you can get a bonus chance, get a bonus chest if they drop. You can find more components. Quest time reduction, which is huge. Rest time reduction, which is a big deal. Overflow sales, which I don't really care about. But what I wanted was this one here, which was a chance to auto-complete quests, right? So I wanted those to automatically finish, which pairs in nicely with this, which is you have a 20% chance of boss respawning. So the hope is that it auto-completes and then respawns, and then you can throw in and get another one, because keys are a big deal. And then you can see I'm trying to grind in here and finish out this key, so that way every time I get a key, I have a 25% chance that I'll get a second key. That way I can get a whole bunch of ascension shards and blueprints and other items. So it's a good way to kind of spur that in. I don't care as much about this. I would like to get the extreme reductions, because then it does make going into the extreme levels a lot more viable and frequent. Don't care about the rune stones or any of these other things. So not saying that these are bad, but they just don't fit my playstyle. And some of these I don't think really fit a specific playstyle. It would just be like nice bonuses. So I do think the Polona would be nice, because I think if you built correct teams with her, you could get a lot off of her. But it's also not I don't think it's a viable strategy to build around one hero. The crafting is also a good line. I wish that it was easier to reset. because it starts getting real expensive to have to reset these out. And so, which I would say would go the regeneration rate and expand out. This is a good one. You can get rid of the chance to get the higher anything above common, but you get a higher chance of crafting out more of them. So this would be a good one if you're needing to just get bulk items to throw out. The crafting slot is huge in this one. I think that's the best one. The chance for everything to be multi-crafted and then legendary. So if you're trying to finish out your book or you like to focus on crafting predominantly, this is a good path. It's just not one that I don't think it's the best path forward anymore. It was something I went on pretty heavily. I also think that the fusion path is a good one. Especially once you can unlock with the energy and then reduce that. I think you could make a pretty good amount just buying up maybe like greens or blues, probably blues, turning them into purples and throwing them onto the market, especially for gems. You could probably make a really good gem factory just going off of that. But yeah, those were some of the ideas for different strategies. And just kind of pick one and stick with it, and I think you'll be successful. The next topic we're going to go over is your guild. And this is a really big deal. Being in the right guild can make or break your gaming experience here. And of course it's going to take forever. There we go. So you have your leader, but you're coming in here. You want to make sure that you're getting people that are contributing to the trophies, which this is unusual for me to be at the top. Especially this guy right here, he tends to get hundreds per event. But you want to make sure that your guild is reaching as high as you can on this, because the levels matter a lot. We're about to be coming into T15, and they're going to matter even more. So we're coming here to the guild perks. You can see right now we're at level 300, and I think we have everything maxed that you can max. So that's what you're looking for, and I'm pretty sure. Okay, we are at max guild level, and then you can go in here and they can throw their points in on the bonuses for these items, and that just kind of keeps kind of chips away at that, but it's something free to use. So we're at 25% craft speeding, 50% resource regen, faster quest and resting times, faster XP bonus on all your bonus earned, which is huge. It's definitely something that you want to do for sure. Say if any of them, this is probably the one that's most important to me to make sure is there. And more of that stuff is going to be unlocked. Next thing that you want to be looking at with your guilds is that the levels are at an adequate level. You can see we have almost all of our stuff is at 21. This is at 20, but we're working on it. Right now, T15 comes out tomorrow, and everyone is in the process of saving up for the T15. So no one wants to drop money in the investing to finish that off, because it's probably going to be 25 or 30 billion to unlock that next level for the questing. So nobody wants to be dropping those funds and not be able to get that in-game content. But the difference here is pretty minuscule. We're looking at 0.01 per minute of production on the essence between 20 and 21. So it's not the be all end all, but across the board, you know, if you are at the worker levels are actually probably a bigger deal over the resources. So you can see like, well, this one's pretty good, right? Like 0.8 difference. So that'll be one that's kind of worth grinding out. And the last real aspect that you want to make sure that when you're looking for the guilds is that they are active and they are finishing the events well ahead of time. That way you're not trying to play catch up at the last minute and having to throw in a lot of energy and other people aren't doing so. The best place to find those people is the guilds looking for players in the Discord. So make sure you come and join the Shop Titans Discord. They do have giveaways. I rarely really put into these. You can see I haven't been on in a while. But they do have these giveaways and you can get stuff. I don't know anyone personally, I think, that's ever won them, but you know, there is that possibility. But you can see we have all these different discussions and there's a bunch of feedback. One I do is heroes and champions. You can throw in your heroes and people will chip in the best ways to do that. But for what we're talking about is you just want to come in here for guilds looking for players. And you can kind of sort through and apply. Or you can come in and do players looking for guilds. And just throw this little front up here. You can see we have a level 54 guy. And his net worth, his investment, so he's got 4 billion invested in, not too bad. And you kind of get a snapshot of where they are, right? Like we got this level 70 guy here. He's got 36 billion net worth, 144 billion. 144 billion investments. So that's pretty good. I think that's better than me. I'm actually not sure where I'm at. I'm not too high. No, I got 462 billion. So, and I'm at 1.5 trillion net worth. So, kind of gives you a little snapshot of where you're at in conjunction with other people as well. So I think it's a good thing to do. And the last thing that I would like to jump on is I think it's better to spend your gems on things that are going to permanently increase the production of your shop. If you don't have all of your base items you keep in your shop at 15, I do think that it's worth spending gems to finish them off. So I mean, I can basically save a day and a half for 61 gems here, right? 62 gems. And then I can throw in and start up another one, and I can get that energy level up, I can get those regeneration rates and all of that stuff built up. Another really big thing is to add on to your shop. So you can see that I've done this a few times already. And say I want to add more slots. I have 87. I could go to 88, and it's going to cost me 6,000 gems. So that's what I'm saving up for now, is to do another expansion, because it'll be a long time before I hit 25 mil or level 99. That's a lot. If you're curious, I do have a video on higher level grinding for getting those XPs up to here, but we'll move on from there. So we do have the shops here. We went over that. Another one to maybe consider is dropping 15 is to get more crafting slots so you can get them inside your talent tree, or you can spend them here to get these early. I'm not doing that because I'm only a level and a half away, and 15,000 gems is a lot. So it will cost me 5 billion, but that's okay. We can grind that pretty easily over a pretty short amount of time. Doesn't take a whole lot to get 5 bill once you're kind of up in these upper echelons of grinding. Kind of the same goes in with the quest levels. So once you're fill up on the questing, you can purchase more slots. That way you can keep more stuff going. I don't find it worth it personally. I'm not a big one. You can also unlock hero slots, but once again, I'm right at that threshold. A lot of stuff unlocks at 90, but this isn't bad to get access to early. But I would say it's kind of on the lower echelon of what you're looking to do. You can spend gems here, but I would say this is probably one of the least effective methods. You're looking at a lot of gems, so 540 gems. It's way, 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 way easier to make 180 million than 540 gems. So unless you're just dropping an insane amount of money, it's dropping these gems into the investing is just not worth it. I would highly suggest that you just spend the gold itself on there rather than that. I also think that you can spend gold to unlock these slots here earlier, but it's kind of up to you if that's what you're wanting to do. Now let's pop in. Kind of the next big thing that you're going to see a lot of people spending gems on, and I'm not opposed to doing it if you are behind the power curve significantly, but it gets real expensive coming in and fitting out your people. I'd say the blue level is about the highest I go, because once you start getting into the purples and the legendaries, I mean, it just gets real pricey. You're looking 300, 400, 500 just for these enchantments. So say, like there's 6 slots, you're dropping 400 a pop on those slots, times 2, so 12 times 4, 4,800 gems. That's on top of like actually having the outfit. So if you're trying to max stuff out, I mean, you're looking at, probably 5,000 to 7,000 gems for one hero. So I think it's a toss-up. I mean, if you're able to take that hero and do things that make it worth it, but it takes a long time to grind out 7,000 gems. So I think, for me at least, the better thing is to do it inside of a shop that's permanent, rather than throwing it on heroes that is temporary. And then there's always new items, right? Like we're getting T15s out tomorrow, and then there's always these items coming out in the store. Let's see, I don't see where the events ones are. Okay, I guess the event, we don't have any the event stuff going on, but there's normally like some sort of event one or special item, and it's going to be better than the one you have, and then you just drop 7,000 gems to have a second tiered quality item, right? So just don't think it's worth dropping gems on that excessively, just very limited. Yeah, those are my 5 tips for building the best empire you can in Shop Titans. Thanks for watching.